Welcome to the Field Coach Experts podcast, where we have real conversations about what it takes to help franchisees and field coaches create real impact. I'm your host today, Jennifer Brannon, and I'm really excited because we are going to dive into one of the most common challenges that franchisees face, which is how do you stop yourself from being stuck working in your business to work on your business. And personally, as a former franchisee, I know what a difference it takes when you are able to actually get out of your day-to-day. And my friend, Kim Chapman from Oxford Learning is here as our guest today. She is a franchisee. We have known each other for several years. We did work together originally before Kim then went into one of our performance groups and masterminds, and she's going to tell us all about that. And she has built an incredible business and has such a relatable story that I know a lot of you, especially any franchisees are listening, or even field coaches or franchise leaderships, you're going to really relate to what she's saying from a franchisee standpoint. So she's going to tell us how she actually how things started with her and getting stuck in her business and what it took to get out. So welcome, Kim. I'm really excited to have you.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. This is great.
Awesome. Good stuff. So let's just jump right in. Can you tell our audience, give your background a little bit about your franchising story and how you ended up becoming an Oxford Learning franchisee?
Sure, absolutely. So, way back in the day, I ended up getting my master's of education and went into the school system and thought it was exactly where I wanted to be. And I spent a lot of time trying to get a job in teaching, and there wasn't a lot out there. And I had some LTOs, which are long-term occasionals, did a few supply teaching jobs, and realized that the school system really isn't where I want to be. Can't really help a child. So I ended up applying to Oxford Learning as just a teacher, an after-school teacher, and worked there at the Kitchener Center for a couple of years. Absolutely loved it and thought, I think I could see myself doing this. So, as a more full-time position. So I ended up applying to another center and taking an education director position, which is kind of the highest level that you can go still in a center without owning it. And then I approached the owner and asked if I could buy it. And I did. And go figure, 11 years later, here I am. I really, really love the Oxford brand. It's got a lot of great places for us to take kids, to help them learn, to really make sure that they are getting what they need from school instead of, from learning, really learning the essentials of learning instead of just kind of going through the motions at school. As a teacher, I wasn't able to help these kids, but they come into my center and I'm watching these kids blossom and grow and learn and become proper learners and become confident students walking out of my door. Sometimes I have to throw them out of the door because they want to stay. They like it so much. We have such a good time. And that for me was really what started my attraction to the brand. And now I feel like I live the brand. I am the brand. So for me, being an Oxford Learning franchisee is 100% where I was supposed to be. And I never even knew that.
Wow, that's amazing. You can just hear your passion for the brand, and I know a lot of franchisors who might be listening are feeling like, man, I wish all of our franchisees felt that way about us. So let's move into, I know that quite a few years ago now, when you and I first met, you came to us to get some help because you were feeling very stuck in your business. So do you want to talk about that a little bit, and what was going on with you, and why was that holding you back?
Yeah, that was really hard for me to take a step away from dealing with the parents, dealing with the kids, dealing with all of that to run my business properly. And I didn't you don't know what you don't know. And I didn't have a business background. So for me, I have an education background. So naturally I wanted to spend the time with my students, with the parents, selling the program, but really delivering the program. But as we grew, and after I bought the business, and we grew rather quickly right away, you realize that you can't really run the business very well if you're constantly working in the business. And this was something that took me a while to really truly understand. But if you are constantly doing all the little jobs, who does those big jobs? And those big jobs are really important to keep your day to day going, and also to not burn out.
Mhm.
So that burnout is real. And doing all of the jobs, I found out sometimes I was working 60 hours a week, and I'm like, what am I doing? I don't want to be doing that. I don't want to be living and breathing all of that stuff, because there's other parts to life. While I love what I do, I really wanted to travel. I really wanted to do other things. And I think it took me a while to really figure out, yes, it's very important to work on my business as much as I work in my business. And now I've learned that I do work in the business. I love going in, I love being there, but I'm working on things that don't have a lot to do with the day to day. I'm working on my forecasts, I'm working on my spreadsheets. I love my spreadsheets. I do a lot of the business side of things, which as an education major, I never would have thought that I would be interested in doing anything that has to do with business at all. And now I prefer it over my education part. But I still like, walking around my center and singing at the same time. So, that's important to me too. Making all the kids cringe with all my dad jokes.
That's the fun, right? That's you got into this business because that's the stuff that you loved, and giving back and
Yeah.
hanging with the kids and things. But you said some really important elements there of the working on the business, so that you could also, get out, uh, go on vacation, not get burnt out, so that the business would be growing, and you have all of the pieces in place to cover you for all those little things, and that business is, whether you're on vacation or you're playing with your spreadsheets. I love a spreadsheet too. That it's really important. So let's dig deeper into that. What are the things, when I say to you, if you think beyond what you've already mentioned, working on the business? So, what are those activities that we're saying that a business owner should be doing, as opposed to the day to day dealing with parents or customers or putting out fires or things like that?
I think managing my key staff has
Mm.
been a really big learning, curve for me. I really had to understand how to be a team leader. I did a lot of work on that, on how to coach people to get them to be what I want them to be, making sure the right people are in the right seats. Jen and I have talked tons about that back in the day.
Mhm.
Making sure that the people are doing what they're supposed to be doing. I think too, budgeting, making sure the financials are up to date. Liaising with people that know the business as well, and making contacts there, networking with people that can help me, or just if I need to vent, anything like that. All of those kinds of things are incredibly important. Just learning how to make my business, how to solve my problems before they become major issues. I might have a little problem, but I need to teach myself and work on those things so that they don't spiral out of control before you even realize that that's happening. And then on top of that, I really love helping other franchisees. So for me, that's been a big part of my journey as well. Is I love to set up times to chat with other people that need my help, that I can help to get through. I've got a meeting next week with somebody on how to budget payroll properly. That's the kind of thing that I want to make time for myself, because I find that rewarding. So yeah, there's lots of different things that go into running your business and working on your business, but you have to find what works for you and
Mhm.
then build that properly. And if you don't like doing something, like I hate bookkeeping, hate it, outsource it,
Mhm.
outsource it. It's not it's not imperative for me to be doing that. I need to understand it, but
Mhm.
I can't live my life going, oh, I have to bookkeep and then pushing it off. So I had to learn all of that, learn all of the things that go into working on my business to make it better, but then figuring out what I don't need to be doing to and set that free. That's a better way
Yeah,
to put it.
absolutely. And I remember when you and I first met, you said this, I hate numbers. I hate because I talk a lot about KPIs and understanding your financials and using those things to understand where you're at, set yourself some goals, and then figure out how you're going to get there. So, do you think is that something now that you're doing
Well,
more of, Kim?
confession time, I didn't even know what a KPI was until we started working together.
Right.
Yeah, that's embarrassing now because I use KPIs in my daily language all day long, every day.
Mhm.
My staff jokes because I have two monitors in my office, and I have my KPIs up on my second monitor all
Nice.
day, every day. I am constantly checking that. I spend a lot of time on that, and I never. I mean, I bet that kind of surprises Jen a bit because I didn't. I was not a numbers person, and I would say now I am probably the most numbers person out of most of my network. So
Wow.
I really do practice what I preach now. I love working on the numbers. It's fascinating to me to watch how something works in terms of, if you change your table ratios a little bit, what does that look like for us? And it's really that I would say takes up probably 60% of my time. And I choose that I choose to do that because I like to understand now how things are working. That's important to me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk, Kim, about your experience with the performance group and how that gave you some of these business skills in the work that was done there. Just for listeners, AC Inc. runs performance groups. They are for franchisees. We really the goal is to teach these key business skills so people can be working on their business, because a lot of people like Kim who say to us, I don't know what a KPI is, I certainly don't know how to use it, or what does P&L mean, and things like that. So Kim, I would love to hear from you, your experience being a participant in the performance group, and maybe where you were at before and where you are at after, when
Sure.
you were working with the team in the performance group.
Yeah, I really love the performance groups, and I found them so beneficial. I think I did a couple. I think I did one with you, Jen, and then I did one with Brecken as well. And I absolutely loved them because not only are you getting somebody from outside of the company helping you to understand kind of just business aspects, you're also getting your peers or people who are in it right now. And we did it through as an Oxford kind of, there were six of us that did it. I did one round and learned so much. I really love the setup because we had a lot of talks about, what's working, what are your wins today, what could what do you need to work on, what do you have any issues you want to bring forward to the group? Just that alone, and knowing that that's coming every 2 weeks or every 4 weeks or whatever the schedule might be, I would make sure that I was ready for that with any issues that I had. And I could bring forward something and get input from my peers, from somebody outside. That is huge for somebody like me because I want to bounce those ideas off of people. I want to get ideas, just in general, share ideas, talk about, what makes a business strong, how to build that part of staffing or KPIs or understanding how to manage. All of those kinds of things are so important, and the performance groups really helped me to really streamline my issues, streamline what I need to work on so that I can take that away over the following 2 weeks, build on it, work on those homework. You have to do the homework. You can't
Mhm.
phone it in on those things either. It's really, you have to know what your issues are and you have to take away something from it in order to grow.
Yeah, That's spot on. So you did actually, as I'm remembering, you did a performance group where we really did go through teaching these skills, right? Teaching the KPIs, the financials, some goal setting, which is huge, and then the accountability of what do I have to do in order to make sure I'm meeting these goals. And then you went into our masterminds, which is bringing a group together where we're really digging into those issues. And we typically do those after a performance group. And I know Oxford, we had a lot of folks go through those programs for a couple of years, I believe it was.
Yeah, and
Um,
everybody who did that loved it. We still talk about our performance groups quite frequently,
mm,
and you've now I've made connections with those other franchisees as well that I know who I can go to ask for help or to have a conversation. Oh, what would you do in this scenario? You know, I've got a problem client or something like that. What do you do about that? Or I need to change my budget, and what should I be doing my payroll at? You know, what
mhm,
percentage should my payroll be? Those are the kinds of questions that I learned so much about just from other
mhm,
franchisees in my own performance group, but also understanding the real way to run my business and some to by somebody who or from somebody who is running it at even a better level than
mhm,
I am, because there's always somebody better. So,
mhm.
you know, that's I'm totally open to learning from those people. So it's a great way to deal and to learn.
That's amazing. I'm going to ask you for a piece of advice for other franchisees, but I want to give my piece of advice because you just said it, and I want to reinforce it to franchisors. You know, you can do this. Yes, of course, ACA can help, but you can facilitate the opportunity for franchisees to get together, like-minded franchisees that can work through issues and really talk about it and learn from each other. You just need to have a really good facilitator. I think you would probably agree, Kim,
Yes.
that sometimes it's a challenge if franchisees are kind of left to do it themselves. We've seen that not always work. Having somebody to facilitate the conversation, make sure it's going and that it's organized and all of that kind of stuff. So that's we love, as a former franchisee, we love getting together. One of the reasons most of us love going to conference is because of that peer-to-peer interaction and learning from one another. So really trying to give your franchisees as many opportunities for that as possible, I think is key. So Kim, if there's a new franchisee, actually doesn't even have to be new. If there's a franchisee here listening and they are really resonating to the fact that where you were, doing everything, answering the phones, but maybe loving it, maybe not, but knowing that I'm just spinning my wheels, and if my business grows, it might just be luck or a good economy or something like that, which that's the reality of it. It doesn't mean
That
that
was
you are
me.
driving the performance of your business, which is a difference.
100%. That
Can
was
you
me
give
for
some
the
advice?
first For sure. That was me for the first 4 years I ran my business, right up until probably the beginning of COVID, when suddenly everything was difficult
Mhm.
and everything shut down. And I'm like, I need to level up. I just need to focus my energy in a different direction so that I'm literally not spinning my wheels, because that's what was happening. And at that point, when we had so much stress about everything else, I needed a way out, and I needed to figure out how to get to that next level.
Mhm.
So I think you can't do it all. If you want to grow, you cannot do it all. I've had this conversation with somebody else recently. If you want to grow, you've got to start delegating.
Mhm.
Delegating was the worst word for me. I I can do it all, so why would I make somebody else do it? That isn't real life. That isn't real life in a successful business. You have to delegate. You have to learn to trust the people who work for you. You got to put them in the right seats, and then you have to trust them to do the job that you've trained them to do.
Mhm.
And I'm not a great trainer, and I know that. But my management style is I want to take my hands off and let them do what they need to do, and I'll just guide them by doing our Monday meetings. Every Monday, we have an hour-long meeting where we plan everything out for the week and we talk about things. And that is so important.
Mhm.
Just the organization of things, that's where you delegate. That's where you make the magic happen. It sounds so cheesy, but it's so true. You know, I want to make sure that I've got people that are doing the things that they need to be doing, and it frees me up to do the things that I am really good at and that I want to do, and so that I don't have to be there all the time.
Absolutely. I think we hear a lot of people say, nobody can do it as well as I can. And that's just not true. There are
Yep.
people out there that can
Yep.
do things, if not better than
Yep.
us. It's about finding those people and having them, to your point, in the right roles, meaning the right seat, doing the right things. And some of it is just letting up that control. So that's Kim's word of advice is delegate so that you can then change your focus over to growing the business instead. So, Kim,
100%.
thank you so much. Really, really appreciate you being here. It was so nice to see you. It's been a minute since we've seen each
Yeah.
other. Your story is such a good, powerful reminder that stepping back isn't about doing less. It's just about doing the right things that move that business forward. So, for any franchisees or franchisors that you know your franchisees really need some development of their business skills because they're constantly firefighting, take a page from Kim's book. We can help. AC Inc. can help. If not, find an opportunity in your own business or your own franchise system to teach business skills to your franchisees and help them get out of working in their business. So thank you so much for joining me. Kim, thank you again. And I appreciate everyone listening to the Field Coach Experts podcast.